Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Talk to Audrey show, the COVID-19 series through the eyes of internationals across the world. And with me are Dustin and Austyn, and both a young 37 years old. I'm very glad you're here with us because where are we? We are in the Netherlands. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks
So
for
good
having
to be
us.
here.
Thank you. So we're not in Amsterdam because you're not sitting next to me, but we are in Hilversum. And if you could please tell people around the world, where is Hilversum in the Netherlands? And maybe how far is it from Amsterdam? It's not the only city, but tell us, please.
Sure. So Hilversum is a small village, just probably about 35 minutes outside of Amsterdam, probably, I guess, the southeast of Amsterdam. So just a short drive, not bad at all.
And you've always lived in Hilversum since you guys got here in 2017, correct?
Yeah.
That's right.
Mhm. So Dustin has a very nice marketing job, I will not demote you, for a sports company. And together with Austyn, who has her own company as an entrepreneur, Expat Hour, I've been lucky enough to be a guest during one of her wonderful podcasts. Loved it. Thank you both. I admire your tenacity, I may not say. You have 4 beautiful children in the ages ranging from 2 to 11.
Yep.
Good riddance. So it's very quiet. So does Netflix have anything to do with this? Or?
Absolutely. Yep. We've got our stock in Netflix. They're keeping us sane over here.
You're doing very well. So we're doing, and I asked you both to join us, and thank you for doing that. And I'm so glad that you're healthy and that you're here and we get to talk to each other virtually like the rest of the world. I had a lot of questions of people. Well, great, the series, I love that people are commenting and watching, but what's going on in the Netherlands? And so besides obviously not asking myself, and we could, switch back a little bit because Austyn does that too, and maybe Dustin wants to join in too, you can ask me questions, but how are you experiencing the Netherlands? And do you talk to your family about, what's going on here? Obviously, do they think we're a little bit crazy because we get to go outside? Tell me.
Yeah. We've been in lockdown now for about 6 weeks, or social distancing, I guess, for 6 weeks. And I went into it thinking it would be about 3, kind of naively. And so as I've seen what's happened in other parts of the world and, we're in this for the long haul, it's been kind of an emotional roller coaster. And so we're surviving, but I think generally speaking, the Netherlands is in good spirits. We haven't had the crazy, devastating spike that I think other parts of the world have had. I think the government's handled it really well in getting us shut down early and having us practice social distancing so we could flatten the curve. And I think for the most part, people have been complying with that, and it's been really nice to see.
Yeah.
Would you say anything to add?
Yeah, my company actually shut down, or at least advised us to work from home about 2 weeks before the Netherlands even was shutting down schools and things like that. So I had 2 weeks before everything else really slowed down, where I was just working from home. And I think it was good. I mean, it was nice that they were taking that precaution and just trying to keep people safe. And so my experience here has been great. I talked to my family back home. The U.S., like, especially today, there's like tons of different things going on, like protests and weird things going on with, certain parts of the U.S. But my family so far hasn't really been affected by any of that. So everyone's safe, which is good.
Yeah.
And so thank you for that. And so you're here in the Netherlands, and is it difficult for you to stay in lockdown? Do you guys jog in the morning, go for a walk in the evening? How do you stay sane? And with all due respect, I mean, I lots of respect for any parents with little children. Do you have a routine?
Oh yes, we have a routine. The only way I can function is routines.
Tell me.
I think our experience is very, very different in this as well, because I'm very much an introvert. So I suddenly lost 30 hours of alone time. Now I'm constantly surrounded by little people who make noises and messes and need me constantly. So I feel really suffocated. So so I've had meltdown after meltdown after meltdown until last week, when we finally figured out a good system where we kind of take turns working and taking care of the kids so that I can get a couple hours in a row of alone time, and then vice versa. And that's another wonderful thing about the Netherlands is that we're not on full lockdown, and we're actually encouraged to be outside and getting exercise, keeping our distance. And so we live very close to lots of hiking trails and running trails. And so we definitely get out there daily as a family, and also alone as well. And it's filled with people keeping their distance, but it's really nice to see everyone out walking their dogs and exercising every single day. So it's really nice.
And so when you walk outside, I mean, I know that I walk/jog early in the morning, and it's funny because usually from a far distance, and I take the same route every day, I see people like, okay, are you going off the sidewalk? Am I going off the sidewalk? Is that what you're seeing? And is there a difference the way Dutch people kind of walk? Because there are a lot of expats and internationals in Hilversum, correct? Yeah. Do you notice a difference the way that we are outside, or do you not see any of your expats or international friends outside?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to tell. I can't really tell, to be honest, when I see people out walking. I feel like Dutch people very, very much keep the rules. And so, you do every once in a while see groups of people out together, but they're all spaced out kind of the right way. And I feel like when you see people who are breaking the rules, Dutch people will call them out.
Yeah. They will, and we just got called out because we have a family of 6.
Yeah. Just
yesterday, we were out on a walk, and someone said, social distancing, you have to keep your distance. And we had to say, these kids all belong
to ours. Oh, God.
We're just one family.
Wow. I mean, the little people were also, with all due respect, your little kids were, did someone say something after you said they're ours?
Well, we weren't standing next to each other. So near him with some kids, and he was with some kids. And I think they were kind of like, why are you in a group, So
I mean,
that's one thing that I really love about the Dutch is they just say what they say. Yeah, I love it.
Well meant, but direct. We tell it like it is. I know it's well meant. And so making kind of a little bit of a bridge to that. So what do your parents or families or friends back home think of the fact that we are allowed to go outside? I mean, I know in certain parts of the U.S. beaches are open and things like that, but are there different opinions? Are there arguments? Not that I'm, heading that way, but what do people think of us about us being outside?
I don't know about your family. For my family, I think there are different people kind of sit on different sides of the political spectrum a bit. And I think that influences their opinion on the lockdown to a certain extent. So there's certain people in my family who seem very much like, hey, let this thing run its course. You can't avoid it, expose people who will be exposed, and you just need to move forward. And other people are a bit more cautious and really kind of welcoming the idea of isolation and things like that. So I don't think my experience, it seems like the way that we're doing it is very similar to the way my family is doing. I grew up in Oregon. And kind of outside of, about an hour south of Portland. So outside of the bigger city. So there aren't as many cases down there, and it seems like everything's okay. So, but it has changed the way they work. My father's an attorney, for example, and instead of doing his hearings in person, they're doing it over a conference call. And, he said there's been some funny situations where, calls get backed up and people have, they don't have childcare, so they have like babies crying on the phone and things you'd never have like in the courtroom normally are happening now. And so it's just changed the way that everyone's working.
Yeah. And I happen to have a brother in New York City with his family. And so that's been very scary for me to know that I have loved ones in the epicenter in America. And things are very, very different for him. He and his partner are both performers by trade. And so they have, they're obviously not working right now, not making money. His partner is in local politics and is working around the clock to try to help New Yorkers who are in a difficult situation, get some rent relief, help people have enough food. Some of the kids a large number of kids in the area, the only time they eat is at school. Yeah. And so schools being closed is a big problem. So they've been very, very busy in one sense, really fighting for activism there.
Yes.
And then in another sense, they're really kind of just, waiting for the other shoe to drop, you know, having work right now. So it's very stressful for me to watch from afar and to worry about people that I love.
I'm so sorry about that. I hope that he will be well. Unbelievable, especially in the middle of the epicenter right now. What about, speaking of news, how do you get your information? Because you, as far as I know, you both don't speak Dutch?
Correct.
Correct.
A little bit.
Klein beetje.
A terrible accent, and I understand a little bit more than he does. But I am a ravenous consumer of BBC news, and so I listen to their podcast. It comes out twice a day, so I listen to that, and they to get my like world politics.
Oh, okay. I was thinking for a minute we're in a different country.
Yeah. And then the local news I get all from Instagram. So I follow Dutch.nl, which is in English. Then I also follow NOS, N-O-S.
Very good.
And then I just translate what, you know, from the app, what the update is.
Okay.
But I've been very, very impressed with the Dutch government. They have instilled my trust from the very beginning because they communicate so well. They are constantly meeting. Seems like every other day they're meeting and then updating us.
True.
They meet and they evaluate and they update. And they ask the specialists and the scientists, and then they meet and then they talk to us. So I trust them. I feel like they are on it. They're constantly evaluating the situation and then adjusting. And so that makes me feel very safe.
It's good to hear. To add a little bit to that, right now it is a Monday, and we will be airing this in a few days. It'll pass. Tomorrow, on Tuesday, there will be a press conference, a Dutch press conference, and straight away it'll be translated, usually like on places like dutchnews.nl in English. A lot of people in the Netherlands are hoping that there will be a little bit of leeway. Some people are thinking that daycare might be opened a little bit, or school. I don't want to go ahead of it. I can't, tell the future. I think you're right. I think if I hear the stories and without being, with trying to be honest, I think we do give news on a concrete and on a constant basis. Also, I don't know if you both know, but we actually have televised meetings of what's happening within those meetings of the government, together with the RIVM, which is our medical port of information, and the specialists. Did you know things like that those are even televised, even though they're in Dutch and you can't really hear them? I don't know if there's such a thing as subtitling in different languages for these meetings, but
yeah.
Do people tell you that?
Yes, I did know about that, and I use Facebook for that because my friend who is Dutch will translate it on Facebook. So good job. And so obviously right now we don't have in the Netherlands closed borders, but traveling, Dustin, for you for business, what does that mean? And Austyn, also for you for business and for family, what does that mean? Have you been talking with the company as soon as it's safe? Are you flying? Are you not flying? How does that work?
Well, all travel's been shut down at my company, and probably at least for the next 90 days, I don't think there'll be any travel. And it's partly due to obviously the virus, but also just because it's had such an impact on the business that now the focus is really on cost, and so we're trying to be thoughtful and really only spend what we absolutely have to. And we don't know, I really don't know how long that will last. I mean, it's had such a significant impact on business in general, and what it means for our partners and for our accounts and for, even our consumers. Like, it's really hard to tell. And so I think there'll probably be travel restrictions for the next, business critical only type travel, probably for the next 6 months as we sort everything out. So yeah, it's had a huge impact. But what you see is actually, with the cool side of it, is that it's kind of accelerating a digital transformation within our company as well. Where now we're all getting much more comfortable doing like video conferences like this, and starting to think like, hey, maybe we don't actually all need to travel to this location for that meeting. Maybe we can do it virtually instead, which is probably the future. And so I think this will it's just moving us forward faster. I think it'll be a really good outcome for us in the end.
That's a good point.
And on a personal note, you know, being an expat, it's always difficult to be far away from family. But one thing that keeps us going is knowing that we're going to be able to go home at this time and visit our family and friends. And so that's something we sometimes book a year in advance. And so we had a trip planned this summer to go home and visit our family, which has been canceled. And so that's pretty devastating to already be so worried, and then to have that canceled as well. It feels very disheartening to think like, so when is that going to happen? Maybe not for a year, you know. So that's hard to be an expat and not be able to have that freedom. And also to think of our future. We don't really have the flexibility that we might have had before to think like, let's plan going home, you know, at a certain time. That might be completely out of our hands now for the next little while.
I think that's a really good point. Having been raised just like yourselves, you know, traveling when possible because your parents are, you know, being transferred to different areas. Is it something, do you guys Zoom with expat friends in the Netherlands? Do you talk about this? Is it kind of a little bit quiet because it's, you know, because it's maybe too sensitive? Do you talk amongst each other, or do you talk about Dutch friends to Dutch friends? How does that work? Or do you have a pub night on Zoom?
All of the above, yeah, we do. I have virtual girls' nights and coffee dates with my friends. Which is really fun to be able to still communicate. But yeah, we're all in the same boat. So it's really nice to be able to commiserate with people and to be able to support each other through those hard emotions, because we have all canceled vacations. You know, we don't know, you know, as expats, you know, your time's limited, so you want to take advantage of travel also. And so that's hard to think, you know, that might not be happening at all for the next 6 to 9 months to 12 months. And of course, we all don't get to see our families for a lot longer. So it is nice to have our family away from family, which is our expat friends here.
Well, that's
even with my work colleagues, because we spend so much time doing work over video conference, we set up, like, as a team, we have like more informal chats that we do through Zoom or through BlueJeans or whatever, through video conferencing, where like they have like you know, weekly coffee chat. We'll get together and just, you know, it's light. It's just no work topics are allowed. You just get on and talk and joke and try to make it fun. And then also, like, they do a Thirsty Thursday where everyone, like, at the end of the day comes together with a drink and you kind of celebrate the week and talk about the weekend plans and stuff like that. So it's nice. It's a nice way to connect informally and still stay connected with everyone.
very good and very important also. I think very important to stay sane. I think that the fact that, you know, we humans, we need interaction and, you know, okay, no hugs or anything like that at this point, but to communicate and to keep, you know, and to listen to each other, laugh, and maybe sometimes even cry also. I think that's really good that you're doing it, and we do it, you know, with friends and girlfriends. What about the kids? How are they? Are you noticing anything? They're still very young, but are they asking questions? Tell me.
You know, they don't seem worried at all, which is really nice that they don't have to have any of that pressure that we're feeling.
Good.
We have had 3 sick kids through this, which we're pretty sure has been COVID-19, all of the symptoms, and luckily nothing severe enough to take us to the hospital. But that has not been fun to work to throw on
all together.
But the wonderful thing that I've seen with the kids is that they've become good friends again. You know, when they were really little, they didn't really know that there were friends out there. They just had each other as siblings, and so they were each other's best friends, and they played all the time. And then as they started going to school, they started making friends and becoming less interested in each other as siblings. And so they've sort of had a return to that, which has been really sweet to see. We have one son, our 11-year-old, has had his own room for almost 3 years now. And after this lockdown, he's moved in with his brother, which is so sweet to see that they're like bros again, you know.
Yeah, good job.
So, that's been really sweet. And I've just been really impressed with it. We're doing distance learning through the school, and it's actually pretty intense. They have face-to-face meetings like this where they have to raise their hand and get called on, and they have to do all their same projects. And they've really just, once we got in the system and got in a routine of it, they really sort of just thrive through that system. In fact, they tell me now, like, go away, Mom, I don't need your help. which is music to my ears.
Which is great.
That twice. But that's been fun to see them kind of like mature in that way and feel like I'm on my computer working like mom and dad, you know. So that's been really cute to see.
Very good.
Positive things I've seen. They miss their friends, of course, but you know, we're a little bit more lenient with screen time now too, and we let them like game with their friends online.
Yeah.
That's their only real communication and hang out with their friends. So
yeah.
So the kids are happy all around, I would say. Yeah. More screen time.
I think you're doing a great job. And you know, this is a time that nobody's going to obviously forget, and we're still kind of in the middle of it. And I usually ask a question to everyone that we've interviewed. Is there something that you could give someone in the form of attention, listening ear, maybe business advice, or something that you would either like to tell them now? And is there something, what would you need? Are you thinking like, oh, okay, I need a specialty and or some advice about this? And if so, would you like to be connected through an email or nothing? Just, I don't know if you have something to give or something that you need.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Here's the question. It could be anything. It could be anything.
Yeah, I could think of a couple things. You know, this time that I've had being forced to be at home has made me get really creative in getting my needs met, because I'm so suffocated being around people nonstop, which is really hard for me as an introvert, like I said. So one of the things that I did was I signed up for a 30-day journal course community. And it was really, really valuable, something that I probably never would have done. But it gave me a designated ritual that I had to show up for every day. And it also helped me gain clarity with what I truly want, what my gifts and strengths are, what my stresses are. It helped me understand myself better. So that was something that was so valuable to me. And I was really just grateful that somebody was offering that during this time. And that's not really answering your question. I'm just saying that's what worked for me.
Oh, it's how does it work, Austyn? Do you get an email? Do you get a link?
There's a Facebook group that you're required to like log in on and connect with the group, and then every morning you get an email prompt.
What is it called? Let's give them a shout out.
It's called At Home with Rachel Lynn. It's a girl in Dubai.
Oh wow,
she's fantastic, and this is her new business venture. She's an author, and she's sort of like a life coach, and I don't know what you would call it, like, but she's doing this journal series that's kind of
good. Well, we'll put her name under here, but of course you have your own company, and it's called Expat Hour. Just tell us real quickly what it is, and so we can put it under there too.
Sure. It's a podcast where I do very much, you know, something very similar to what you're doing, is talking to expats all over the world about their life stories and what they've learned and how they've been impacted by moving and adjusting and living around the world. And I think it just gives people an opportunity to connect with somebody who's going through similar things in a very different place, and giving humanity a common thread, at the same time gaining wisdom and listening to people's interesting stories. So that's something that I offer. It's completely free. Available on any podcast platform. And then I personally love to chat with people about business brainstorming. I love to use my creativity and you know, just give my ideas of what people could do to expand their business. So that's something I love to do just for fun. Talk with my friends.
Perfect.
What about you?
Yeah. So one thing I've really enjoyed during the last couple of weeks is I joined there's an app called the Nike Running Club, and if you download that app, you can sign up to these different challenges that they have. So it's April right now. They had a 50K in April challenge that I'm running right now with some of my teammates from work, and I found that's been really fun because, you know, it motivates me to get outside, and also like I feel really engaged with the team because we share updates, you know, and kind of like challenge each other.
Yes.
Are we running today, guys? You know,
get up.
You can post your time for the team, for everyone to see. And so I've really had fun with that. And it's kind of made running fun for me again, because I've always been active, but sometimes I hate running.
So we'll put that on there. So we'll be checking you out. We'll put the Nike Running app down there too. Perfect.
Yeah. So it's been really fun to do that. And then Nike Training Club is another one. You know, you can do workouts just straight from your home. They have tons of content. It's all free. And so those are great ways to stay active when you can't really go outside. So that's been really nice. And I think just on a more personal note too, just making time, like recognizing that this situation is not normal and you can't just keep operating as if it is normal. You know, I think for the first couple of weeks of the quarantine, I was just kind of like saying, I was pretending like this was just my work day and the kids are home and the whole family's here and like I expected.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
But it's really, it's not, you know, it's not a normal situation. And luckily, you know, my company has been, and my boss in particular have been really like understanding about like the impact that this has on a family to be in such tight quarters all day long, and I guess the mental or emotional toll that can take, and being good about making space for fresh air and for kind of doing like readjusting work schedules, like we talked about earlier, like kind of rebalancing time so that Austyn gets some time and I can be with the kids for a bit during the day and I can catch up later on or whatever it is. Just finding ways, you know, to find a new routine and to make it work for you.
Well, that's a good boss. That's a great boss. And I think on that note, seeing that it's quiet right now and it is light out, but it is actually a little bit later, and this is quality time with 4 little munchkins wherever they are, I am going to thank you from the bottom of my heart. First of all, I'm glad that the kids and you guys, everyone is healthy. Let's hope we stay that way. Let's keep in touch. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for shedding a light on what it's like to be an expat in the Netherlands. And, you know, let's hope that all those press conferences and all the information we get keep bringing good news so that we can start rebuilding again. Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much, Audrey.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.